Hello and welcome to this episode of the Worship Band Builder Podcast, where we are working with you to lay the foundation for skillful worship. I'm Eric Roberts. I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Emily Roberts.
Thank you, Eric.
Yes, it is.
You have a lovely voice for radio, by the way.
Oh, thank you, since I am on radio now.
Well, I mean, it's not old school radio, but you were kind of doing that radio voice thing. You sound good.
I was doing it to impress you.
Aw, well.
I was doing it because I could have done just, hello and welcome to this episode.
No, that wouldn't have had the...
It wouldn't have had the gusto. Well, listen to this great promotion coming to you, sponsored by Worship Band Builder and Worship the King. Actually, this is really Play and Sing. Play and Sing TV Music Theory Unlocked. Hey, guys, this episode today is about using the Nashville number system, and so your head will not explode. You don't have to know everything about it, but we do have a new ebook, and that is a really good ebook.
And it explains everything?
It explains everything. It's Music Theory Unlocked. You know what I mean? The keys.
The keys. The book keys. Is the key.
And by the time you hear this episode, not only can you get it on ebook, so instant download, but there's more. You can get it as a print book because it's going to be on Amazon.
Yay, actual pages to turn.
Yeah, and I would get this one, personally, I would get this one in print. This one is good.
To me, having a book in print is nice as a reference. So, like I was thinking just the other day, there's a book that I did not keep that I've kicked myself 16 times for not keeping it because I wish I had it now for a reference. And I find that like my audio books and stuff, there's stuff that I would like to be able to go back and find something that the author said. And I don't know, it's too hard to go back and try to line up where you were listening to that. But books, man, you can flip the pages and find the chapters, and I just love books.
Yeah, and I love this book, and the reason you want to buy this book in print, or at least print it out, is because it's full of charts, reference charts for helping you transpose your songs, helping you know all your chords. All of my best music theory like memory charts are in this book. So they're charts that you really want to have in paper. And you can always print the ebook if you got a nice printer.
You know, with your voice, maybe you should start doing audiobooks.
I am going to do audiobooks someday. I did think about that. I will. I'll do an audiobook just for you. But what are the Nashville numbers anyway? This is something that I think more churches are picking up on it now, but we've been doing this for 15 years at least, Nashville numbers.
But do you have to live in Nashville to use the Nashville numbers?
No. We'll give you a pass straight here from Nashville, Tennessee, to use it even if you're in Oklahoma. No, but actually... And that's a good question. I'm glad you asked that because the Nashville number system is I feel like they kind of stole it.
Stole it? How's that?
I mean, yes, they used this little system in Nashville, not to offend any of you Nashville guys.
Nashville guys.
But really, the Nashville number system, I learned it in college, but it was the classical number system.
Classical number system?
It wasn't the Nashville number system.
Isn't that interesting?
It's the same exact theory, just written in Roman numerals.
What were they writing it in for the classical system?
In Roman numerals. Yeah, the classical system is just Roman numerals, but the Nashville system is just like a number, like a 1, 2.
Oh, like what are they? Arabic numbers?
I don't know what that is.
Or
just regular old numbers.
Regular old
numbers like they taught you in school is what you'd be writing in Nashville numbers. That's how they do it down here. They just write down 1 like a 1 and a 2 like a 2. But if you're in college, if you're up in the high hootie tooties of the college world, you're going to write the Roman numeral and you're going to feel even more special.
How come they never call them Roman numbers? Like you can't do that. They're always Roman numerals.
I don't know. That's beyond me. But so when we're looking at Mozart or Bach or any of these people, and we're trying to figure out the system of how their chord structure, okay, their harmonization structure, we're writing Roman numeral 1, little Roman numeral 2, large Roman numeral 4.
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
That's exactly how it is. Now, in Nashville, they just write 1, 2, 3, 4, but the theory is the same. So for all you guys who think the Nashville number system, it's not really. I think it was made famous and popular in Nashville because that's where all the Nashville guys would write numbers. And
well, it made it easier to record because most of these bands, as they're recording in the studio, they're doing stuff on the fly. The vocalist shows up and somebody will ask them, what key do you want to sing this in? And depending on how their voice is feeling that day, that could change, from moment to moment. It maybe you practiced it a week ago in one key, and today you need to sing it in another key. Well, they're not going to reprint charts just to change the key. So
that would take too much time.
This is just an efficient way to be able to play in any key as needed.
Exactly. So what are they? They're numbers, and we're going to get into it today in pretty good detail. So they're basic numbers that represent chords, and it can be in any key. So that's what they are, okay? They're classical, they're Nashville, whatever they are, but they're basically connected to the music theory. So why you would want to use them, you were just talking about that. You want to use them because you want to change keys. And really, once you learn how to do this, you understand music, you can see it in patterns. That's one of the biggest bonuses for me as I'm teaching people. Once they start seeing the music in patterns instead of as like G, C, D, A, B, C, they see everything as letters, then it's hard to see the pattern. But when you look at the pattern in numbers, almost every song you look at it, oh, that's the same pattern in the last song. It becomes very much more clear.
Because the chords that we use follow a structure that is used repeatedly in pop songs, in worship songs, in country songs. You'll see it over and over and over.
Yeah, a pattern of numbers. So if you put the chords into numbers and then you write them in a pattern, you write them down like that, you can see like 1, 4, 5, 4 is a pattern, 1, 4, 5, 4. So let's say, just to boggle your brain a minute, if you're in the key of C, it'd be G, C, D, C, G, C, D, C. If you're looking at that as chords, G, C, D, C, okay, you can see the same pattern in the key of, like, say, C. It would be C, F, G, F, C, F. So it looks a lot different if you're just talking about chords and you're not using numbers. But they're the same number pattern. So when you take out those chords and put everything in numbers, then the patterns start to be very obvious and very repeating.
So you do have to know a little bit about what chords are and how they line up and how they're typically used in a song for Nashville numbers to make sense.
Yeah, you're really going to have to learn, and that's what my Play and Sing book really teaches, really foundational memory points.
Play and Sing?
Play and Sing, Music Theory Unlocked, that book, that ebook we talked about.
Yes, I wasn't clear that was the title.
I got her confused.
So Play and Sing.
Keep up with all the books,
Music
baby.
Theory Unlocked. So there's sort of a subtitle there.
Yeah, Play and Sing is the series, and then so that book shows you can't just run out and learn the Nashville numbers without understanding music, major scale, and harmonization of a major scale. And once you understand that, you go like, oh, that's how the numbers work.
Sounds intimidating, but it's really not.
Yeah, because there are a lot of people that won't teach you that. They'll just say, here's a chart, and here's the numbers, and this is what it means. But you really want to start to understand how the major scale works in music, and how when you harmonize it, each one of those get a number. So I'm gonna do that. How do I use them in music theory? We're gonna take the simple C major scale right now, and so I'll put some of this on the screen of the podcast right there for you guys so you can see it. But we're gonna talk about the key of C so you can understand this.
So a key is any group of notes that say do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
That's exactly right. That's the major scale.
Yes, major scale.
Now, if you take that major scale and you give each one of those a number, 1, can you sing that for me?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1.
Yeah, 1 or 8. But either way, that's perfect. Now, each one of those, this is such a simple breakdown of how the Nashville numbers work. In the key of C, there are 7 chords, okay? And each one of those chords are on a tone, okay?
Right. So we're building in thirds. So if C is your chord that you're building, you're starting, the bottom note is C.
It's 1. Let's call that 1.
1.
It's 1.
Okay.
So
then
your
we're going
do
to
is 1.
if you're playing this on a keyboard, you're going to put down your 1, your first finger, your third finger, and your fifth finger, and you have built a chord. That's going to be C, E, G in the key of C. That is your 1 chord.
Yeah, and that is what I call it when I said learn to harmonize the major scale. So first you lay the scale out, 1 through 7, C, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And then you take 1 and you build a chord over 1. Okay, 1, 3, 5 over that. So that's a little confusing, but like you said it great. 1, 3, 5, your finger. You got C, E, G. That is your first chord. That is your 1 chord. That is a C major chord.
So if we're changing keys, then the 1 chord could be D, E, F, G, A, or B. It can be whatever note that your key starts on. That will be the name of your 1 chord.
So you have your one chord in C is C major.
Yes.
Now we go to the second scale tone,
which is D.
And if we harmonize D, just to take, it's the easiest way to do this is take the piano and just put it right there. Put your hands, just move them up 1. It's really easy. So you do that, you'll have DFA. That is your 2 chord.
And you'll hear that it sounds kind of sad.
It's sad.
Because it's a minor chord.
Yes, so 2 is minor. So we got 2 minor. So your 1 chord is major, your 2 is minor. You go up the scale tone, and you just do, this is harmonizing a major scale. You go up the scale tone 1 more. Your 3rd tone is, so do, re, mi, or 1, 2, 3, or C, D, E. That's the E. So you build a chord on the E tone, and you have an E minor. Okay, that's E minor. So this is all of the chords in C major. All right, so if you go up to the 4 tone, then you're at F, and F is major, okay? F is major. So you have an F chord, and you can keep going up, and that's how you harmonize a major scale. You just build a chord above each one of the scale tones in C major.
C is the easiest key to start with. If you're playing it on the piano, it uses only white keys, and so I love piano because it is such a logical layout. You can really see the music theory. It makes sense when you're looking at a piano keyboard. Guitar or any instrument, the notes are not laid out that way. It's not as easy to see. So if you have a keyboard available and you can look at it, you can put your fingers down, you can actually play the chords and hear these sounds that we're talking about. To me, it's the most straightforward way to learn it.
It's the only way to learn it. The only way to teach it is on the white keys of a piano in the key of C. All of the concepts in that key, and then when you move to the next key, like if you went to the key of G, you have to add sharps and flats, key signatures, all that's in the book. But you have to learn the basics in C, and you're always gonna, in my mind, as a music theory sort of ninja, if you want to become
music theory ninja.
Yes, if you want to become,
that is my next t-shirt.
That's it. If you want to become a music theory ninja,
not a music theory nerd.
No, that you're already that. If you're listening to this and you haven't shut it off, you're already a music theory nerd, okay? But if you want to become a ninja, then you're always going to think back to C. And as you build up these ninja skills, you're always going to relate back to C. C, when you're learning all of your chords, everything, it goes back to this. And that's why I love the Nashville number system. Because once you learn all of this, these numbers, they become relative to any key and you can just move them around. You can start to see your instrument in a whole different way once you start looking at it as a pattern based in the key of C.
Well, it's so freeing. I mean, we know churches where the musicians are highly skilled and they play only with written out sheet music, and they only play in the key that the song was originally written. And what happens is, that's okay if you're a really highly skilled player on the keyboard and you feel comfortable with lots and lots of black keys in your key signature. But for average players, that's a lot more difficult. And for vocalists, it's nearly impossible sometimes because your voice just isn't designed to sing in that key. So learning the Nashville number system, you can change the key like that, and everybody is comfortable playing and singing.
Yeah. And you can look at your guitar. The piano is, even if you're, whatever instrument you play, make sure you learn this on the piano just so that you get the feel for it. It's visually laid out so beautifully on the white keys of a piano. And all the half steps, all the whole steps, all the little things. If you want to learn about more things like how to make a major chord minor, which is one of my most watched videos on YouTube, how to make a major chord minor. If you want to learn how to make a seventh chord, or if you want to learn how to add a diminished or add a minor seventh, you have to understand harmonization of a basic major scale like we just talked about. You have to really go, I get that. 1, 4, and 5 are major. The 2, the 3, and the 6 are minor chords. When you look at it, you'll see those patterns come alive. Now, I realize some of you guys are listening to this going, what in the world? 1, 4, and 5 are major, 2, 3, and 6 are minor. What in the heck is he talking about? But you see, that is like the core foundation of a harmonization of a major scale. It's one of those memory points. That's why I love the Music Theory Unlocked book, because I teach music theory in that book based on memory points. Once you memorize these certain pockets of points, you just relate them back to the key of C, and it unlocks all of these things for you. So that's really what it's about. That's how I learned it in music in college. When they're teaching me all this, advanced music theory, I'm making, because I was teaching also while I was learning music theory in college, I was teaching kids guitar lessons. So I was taking all these complex ideas and going, well, how am I going to remember that? And how am I going to pass this test? Well, I see this pattern. If I memorize this pattern, then when I walk into that test, I'm going to know how to nail that whole section because I got these 2 or 3 patterns memorized. So that's sort of how I teach it. So how do you get the charts for this? Okay, let's say you're like, okay, cool. I'm sold. I want to start playing the Nashville number system. How do you get the charts for it? And I don't even know if Emily knows. I'm asking this question. She's looking at me like,
get the charts. Clarify what you mean by get the charts for the Nashville number system?
No, like if you wanted to play your next worship song with a chart,
with a Nashville numbers chart. Okay, yeah. So you want the chord chart.
Like so Sunday we were at practice, and we were using regular charts, and they wanted to change the key right before we started the live stream recording, and the bass player was trying to write his charts. He was trying to change it. So he's
crossing out letters and writing in new letters.
Right, and that's what happens. And so I had a little time, so I did it for him while they practiced. I wrote over it in Sharpie. But if he had a Nashville number chart in his hand, he could have just said, okay, I'm going to go to B, no problem. It would have been much easier. So Song Select, Song Discovery, all these places they have now, just recently this year, they released a Nashville number button.
Oh,
you click a button, it will pop out a Nashville number chart for you.
That is great.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I knew, because you were looking at me like, I don't know where you get them. You can make your own Nashville number charts. So you can take, what I do is if I'm at practice and they give me a song, it's in B flat. Okay.
Does that happen a lot? B flat?
Yeah, they do. They like where different places,
okay.
Especially where they are doing it in the original key. They'll give me B flat, and I'm looking at it like, okay. I take a big Sharpie and I write 1, 4, 5, 2, 1, 4, 5, 2. I just write over the whole chart with big Sharpie, and then when you do that, you look down at your chart, and you all of a sudden you see the verse is 1, 2, 4, 5. 1, 2. It's the whole time. It's that. And then the chorus is 1, 4, 6, 5. 1, 4, 6, 5. Oh, and that's like the whole song. So now you don't even need the whole chart. You just need to know, just basically simple. So let me clarify one last thing in this segment. The Nashville number system, the true Nashville Cat kind of like chart, have no lyrics. Nothing. They're just literally
right. That's right.
They're a line of numbers, and those guys don't care like the lyrics as much. They're just looking at the verse, the chorus,
They don't need the lyrics because they're not singing.
Right. In church, I like to have the regular chart that looks like a regular chart with the lyrics on it, and then the numbers instead of chords. So
yes,
that's what Songs Select gives you.
Well, and that makes it easy for anybody, but when you tie that in with a capo for a guitar player, then any song can be played basically in an easy key.
Yeah, and that's why they give me a key of B flat, and I look at it like I'm not going to play in B flat on guitar. So I'm immediately going to write the numbers above it, put my capo on, and play it with my G chords. That's what I teach you to do in the book, Music Theory Unlocked. I teach you how to simplify the chart in moments, put a capo on, and use easy chords. That's a really key to being a professional guitar player. Now, you can learn B flat, F sharp minor, all these crazy chords, but it's going to take you years. And even if you do that, your hand is going to cramp up. I mean, I played in church where I was playing bar chords a lot, and my hand would cramp up.
So even though you know how to play the chord, you can play it well. With extensive playing, even the best players can fail at difficult shapes of chords.
There were times where we played a few songs in E flat and then one in B flat, and I would literally be like, I'm not sure I can hold this chord anymore. Like the last chorus, I'm like, my hand is so sore holding the E flat bar chord. You know, I've been through times where I've been like, I just want to get this over with so I can be done with this. These bar chords are killing my hand. And I'm a pretty, you know, I play a lot of guitar, you know, so there are positions in your hand that you're not going to hold for a long time. So a capo and the Nashville numbers can change all that. And also, you know, if you've been listening to me on my guitar lessons, you're going to know that a bar chord is a closed position chord. It sounds junky compared to an open G chord. Open G, open D, open C is always going to ring better on the guitar than any closed bar chord.
Why is that?
It's because like on a closed bar chord, you're holding down all of the notes and you're like holding them all down and you're cutting them all, you're pushing them, all the strings are held down by one finger and then you're putting the other ones on. The open strings on a guitar ring out better. They just sound better and ring better.
Okay, so you're kind of
cheating.
It's almost like the damper pedal on the piano when you mash the strings with your finger.
Yeah, you're pushing down all those, and you can make a bar chord sound pretty good, but when you open strum a G to a C to a D, a lot of those notes stay open and they ring, and so they're just made for the guitar. The bar chords, you have to close off all those strings and mute off a few and do it, so you're losing some strings and you can make them sound all right. But the more open chords sound better, just period. So whenever
better and easier,
yeah. So I grew up playing a lot of bar chords, and I never never used a capo. But then now I just like the sound of the capo and the open strings, and it just sounds better. You know, for especially for rock or pop, or there may be some people out there who might say, just so this doesn't happen, there may be some times when bar chords sound better. The very, very rare times when like the bar chords just sound better. It always changes the voicing of the guitar. When you play up higher on the neck, that changes the timbre,
right,
and the voicing.
Yes.
So sometimes you might like that high voicing, or that bar chord might sound better in certain scenarios. But 95% of the time, especially for praise and worship, bar chords sound worse. They sound choked. They sound, oftentimes people can't play them as good, so they're missing a few notes.
Sure.
They got some muted strings in there, and they just don't sound as pretty, period. My opinion. And so if you want to learn more about this, check out the YouTube channel. If you really are serious about learning this, and this has piqued your interest, go get the book, Play and Sing TV, Music Theory Unlocked. It's on an ebook, worshipbandbuilder.com/ebook. That's worshipbandbuilder.com/ebooks. And be sure to send Emily any of your questions. She is a music theory ninja. And
I don't know about ninja, but I am available.
She is available
to answer questions if necessary.
And you can always send us a message right from the website. Ask us your questions, and we will show you.
You said check out the YouTube. Give them the address.
Yes. YouTube.com/worshipbandbuilder, or just search in YouTube for Worship Band Builder. We're there. We also have another YouTube channel, one for piano and one for guitar. One is Play and Sing TV for guitar, and one is Play and Sing TV for piano. one guitar and one piano, go to playandsing.tv, playandsing.tv. All right, we'll see you there. God bless you guys. Get your music theory on this week.